Hi everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Avinash, and in this video we are going to build a simple TicTacToe game application by using some AWS services. So the primary focus of this project is understanding how exactly this DynamoDB works. Okay, so generally this DynamoDB, right? It's a serverless NoSQL database where AWS is going to manage backend underlying infrastructure for us, the required servers. The scaling up, scaling down is going to be pretty quick if you are using this DynamoDB. So it's part of serverless components, right? So now I'm going to take an EC2 instance. I'm going to install the required softwares like Python, right, Flask. So then I'm going to deploy some code there. So basically whenever we play this tic-tac-toe game, it's kind of multiplayer game. So one player is going to invite another player, and that guy, another guy need to accept the game, or he do have an option to reject the game. Okay, and whatever the moves these guys are performing, and whoever the winner is, right? So those all moves and the winner information, loser information, everything I want to store in backend DynamoDB. So for that, using this Python, and also we are going to use an IAM role to establish secured connectivity between application running inside our EC2 instance to DynamoDB. All right, so for this, so first step is launch an EC2 instance. Right, so then do all the required configurations. So the problem is this project actually running on Python 2.7. So I tried to do little modifications based on my knowledge, but somehow it is not working. So actually there is a project uh, in AWS documentation on same thing. So but there AWS deploying it to Elastic Beanstalk that comes under platform as a service. So but instead of that, I'm using EC2. I did all the required modifications and I'm deploying that here. Okay, so without any further delay, let's launch an EC2 instance, and while launching instance itself, we will attach a role. So for that, first create an IAM role, navigate to roles, create IAM role, and I'm selecting AWS service use case as a EC2. Why? Because I'm going to attach this role to my EC2 instance. Click on next. So then select DynamoDB. You see here we have DynamoDB execution role, DynamoDB full, DynamoDB read only. So for this demo, I will go with this DynamoDB full access. Click on next, and role name TicTacToe project role. So then click on create role. So the IAM role is now created. So the second step is let's launch an EC2 instance. Okay, so navigate to instances, launch instance. So currently I'm in Hyderabad region. So you select your desired region. So and I'm going to call this as a TicTacToe YT project as a name, and I'm going to choose Amazon Linux 2 AMI. I have tested on Amazon Linux 2 only, and T3 micro is coming under free tier eligibility. I'm going with it, and I'm using an existing key pair. Also security group also important. So basically we are going to run, so I'll show you. This is the code actually. So this is the code where we are going to have some DynamoDB controllers, where it is going to set up DynamoDB table, game controller, how connectivity is going to establish to DynamoDB. So that is this Python code, how game is going to control, and the initial DynamoDB table setup happens with this Python code. And also these are some models like how game is going to happen with this Python code. And these are some static CSS bootstrap templates, and these are the HTML templates that act as a front end. So this is a index.html where it is going to allow us to log in, right? It gives an option to log in, then we can um, request a game, so then it is going to give a table. This is a HTML for while playing we need some UI, the board kind of things, right? That actually comes from this play HTML. And this config, so basically we have a config file, config.ini and config, so these files, right? So we have to modify a little. So this config file here we need to choose. The remaining all you can ignore, these all commented out. Okay, so the region, in which region you are deploying, that region name you have to give, and this based on this region you have to change this DynamoDB endpoint also. So in place of this, if you are using Mumbai, you have to give AP South 1. If you are using Northern Virginia, so US East 1 kind of region codes we have, right? That we have to replace here. Alright, so this config.ini file also need to modify. This also used in this code. It just what is the table name you are using and what is the region you are deploying this. So basically this information also required. Okay, and actually I uploaded all this code and everything to this GitHub repository. So you can simply clone this to your local. You can start uh, deploying it to your EC2 instances. So right now let's come back to our EC2, and as I told you, so basically this everything I'm delivering via Flask application, right? So that Flask application defaultly it runs on port number 5000. So that defaultly I have opened in that. So that's most of the times with Flask we open it. So that port 5000 must be opened on your EC2 instance security group. So otherwise you cannot access your application. So I already have a security group. So if you want, you just create a new one and later you can go and you can modify it. So otherwise you create one and then you can use that. We are good with 8 GB, and then go to advanced details. And also here, whatever the role we created, right, IAM role, we have to attach it here. So the name I have given, TicTacToe project role, I have selected it. And also basically this code is going to use some metadata URL. So that 169.254.169.254. So this metadata URL also should enable, and also this metadata is enable, but it should set to version 1 and version 2 token optional. So what this metadata will do, it help us to get the temporary tokens generated by IAM role we have attached. If you are giving version 2, it may not work. Okay, so I'm going with the version 1 and version 2. So then click on launch instance. And all the required commands I mentioned here, you can simply use this option, copy paste. So all these commands are here. So quickly to execute all these commands, what I'm going to do is I have written all these commands to a simple script. This is a script. Okay, so if you understand the script, whatever the commands I actually mentioned there, like installing Python and basically downloading the Python source and then compile it, so then installing it, so then after installing the pip, and so then installing the Flask, Boto and all, then installing Git, and then after um, copying, navigating to home ec2 user, and whatever the Git repo I have shown you now. So I have taken that Git link, so then I have pasted that here. So right, these all commands, right, we can simply execute it within this EC2 instance. So instead of manually executing each and every command, so what I'm going to do here, I will prepare a simple script. I'm elevating my privileges to root. So currently I'm working as a root, and vim script.sh. So then all the commands I'm going to paste it here. Press escape :wq chmod. I'm providing execute permission to this script. Alright, so we are good to run this script and I'm executing it as a root user. So sh script.sh. So basically the script execution, right? It is going to take some time, approximately 4 minutes to 5 minutes. So instead of keep this video running, I am going to pass this video recording. So once the script execution completed, I will resume the recording. Alright, so all the commands now got executed. So if you observe, like it's even not only this compiling and all. So what it did, it actually downloaded this pip and it's installed, and it even installed some the required packages. It installed Flisk, Jinja, right? So these all things it got installed here, and even the repo also cloned here. Okay, so basically all this script is now successfully executed. So once script successfully executed, you should able to see this repo here. So let's go inside this repo. If you are giving ls, you should able to see all these things. So primarily you have to modify couple of things. So one is this config. So if you observe this cat config, so these two things. See, currently I'm in Hyderabad region, I'm using it, so I have changed it to Hyderabad and this endpoint got changed. First thing. And second thing, this lines. Okay, so once these things are ready, so what you need to do, you have to start this application. So before starting this application, if you try to access anything on this port number 5000, so it's not working, it's showing connection refused. So basically, as I told you, this EC2 instance security group is open with port number 5000. So now let's run this application.py. So that to run it, so you can observe here, this is a command python application.py. So I'm using this config.ini configuration file. We are running it as a service and we are hitting this endpoint and service port is 5000. Let's take this command and let's run it. So basically this runs in an interactive mode. So it will show you this running and all. So now let's copy this instance public IP address, and on port number 5000 you try to access. So now we got this screen, and what we can do, we can first log in as a user, and I'm giving a name like Avinash. So then login. So as I told you earlier, basically the script has capability to create the required DynamoDB tables. So we don't have any tables here in Hyderabad region. So now whenever we click on create table, so automatically the Python code I have shown you, right? So basically this TicTacToe here we have this DynamoDB set up. A DynamoDB Python script is there. So basically this Python script is going to choose the region, and it is going to query the metadata URL for security tokens, and it is going to use this read operation, how many read operations, write operations, and it is going to create a table with the names called games. So that actually completed. If you give a refresh, you should able to see games table here in Hyderabad. Observe here, this game table got created, but we don't have anything here. So I have selected under explore items, I selected my games table. So is it showing any items here? No. So whenever you start playing games, right, what are the moves you are going to perform? Those all moves are going to store here. So let's play a game now. So now I have logged in as a Avinash user here. So we need to log in as another user. So let me copy this instance public IP address, then open a new window. I have given that IP address. So now we have to log in as another user. I'm giving this username as Anudeep. Then click on login. So now here in this browser I'm working as Anudeep user. Here in this browser I'm working or logged in as a Avinash user. So now as a Avinash user I'm going to create a game. Click on create. So who is your opponent? Anudeep is going to be my opponent here. Now do I have any invitations? No. See, here it will show invitations, here it will show games in progress, here it will show the most recently completed games. So now when we click on create game, a game page opened for this Avinash user, and immediately a request comes for this Anudeep user. Now it's Anudeep user's turn to accept it or reject it. So now when we click on this Anudeep user, click on accept, it will show you what is the status, game status, it's in progress. If you open this page, you can see now this game is in progress. Once game completed, it will come to this history page. So now whose move is this? So turn is Anudeep turn. So now he is giving a turn. So then this Avinash is selecting. Now who is turn? Anudeep turn. Now Anudeep turn completed. Now it is Avinash turn. Right. So in similar way we can so just play this. I will do one thing. I will make this Anudeep win. You see here, so this Anudeep, it's completely matched and the game state is finished. Who is opponent? Avinash. And whenever game got finished, if we are trying to give this or select any other field, it's not allowing. Either game is not in progress field, in progress state, or game is completed. So or it's not your turn, or game is not in progress state. So if we go here, if we give a refresh, the game from in progress to it came to recent history. So same way, if this Anudeep is creating a game, so he can invite another users. So then immediately that another user is going to get a request, and is it accepted or requested? This guy even has an option to reject also. This game is now rejected. Okay, if we go here, it's gone, game got rejected, it's not storing any moves and all. Now again we are creating one just for testing purpose. Okay, invalid username, create game. So now again an invitation here, this time accepting. Okay, whose move is this? Whose turn? Avinash turn. Then immediately it is showing here, and this time Avinash won. So when we go to this home screen, you see this, right? So one time Avinash Anudeep won, one time Anudeep lost. So it is going to show you all that previous information. One time Avinash win, one time who is the opponent. See, currently I'm working as Anudeep, and who is your opponent? Avinash. What is the game status? Last time you won on this opponent, but this time you lost. And when you click on here, so automatically it is showing all the moves also. Okay, so how it is able to retrieve the moves? See, if you're taking applications like Candy Crush and all, so if you stop any game in between, so when you reopen that application, it restarts from there itself. So how it is possible? So basically the system in backend database, right, it is going to store all that previous moves and all. So then from there itself we can start. Okay, so now let's observe these all things from DynamoDB table perspective. Earlier when we select this explore item, when we select games, it's not written with anything, but now let's click on run, and you see here so far 2 games completed. Who hosted? One is hosted by Anudeep, another one is hosted by Avinash. And even when you click on this item, it will show what are the moves they performed, who is the opponent, right, what is the result. So this all based on the moves based on the game output, everything is actually storing here. Each and every move is storing here in backend database. So this is how exactly a front-end application can utilize DynamoDB table to store all its moves. All right. So to understand this DynamoDB, along with this, we do have another project on this DynamoDB with completely serverless services like Lambda and API Gateway and DynamoDB. So you can go through that video as well. Right, I hope you found this video helpful. If you think these videos are helping you, don't forget to subscribe to this YouTube channel, and don't forget to share with AWS learners. And see you again in next video. Thank you.